And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Wednesday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you, as always, by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you, so you don't have to. It's Wednesday. It's Wrestling Wednesday. You know what that means. Gary Altizer to my right, Scotty Mincher down below, and we have a special guest today for Wrestling Wednesday, episode 7, and it is Marky Staincorb from Austintown Fitch. How we doing, buddy? Thanks so much for coming on today. We're so happy to have you aboard.
Good. How you doing? Thank you for having me.
We're doing good. Not as good as you. I mean, you guys are off to a fantastic start to the season on Austintown Fitch. You specifically, what are some keys to your success so far? Give us some things that have been going so right for you so far this year.
Working hard in the wrestling room, drilling hard, and just my mindset. Just go out there and fight and beat every. That's the game plan every time.
All right, Mark, every good wrestler has a good drilling partner. I ask this every week. We have a guest on. Who are your go-tos in the room? Who are the guys that push you and make you better?
Our Andy Devin Phillips, he pushes me every day, and I push him, and he's getting better every day. He plays top 4 this year at Top Gun. Went 0-2, and he's just getting better every day.
Margie, you already have some love in the comments as we're putting them up now. You got some fans in Austintown. I like it. What's it like to see the support you're getting already and the support you've always gotten this season and in your career?
I love it because that's what I need behind me, my fan base. Like that's what I do it for.
Okay, so your goals this year. Why don't you tell us a little bit about those goals? I'm sure they've got you standing on the podium in Columbus in March. Where do you want to see yourself as far as personally? And do you have anything else that you want to accomplish as far as maybe a school record or anything else? Tell us about what you want to accomplish the rest of the season.
I want to ain't nothing else. D1. Gotta keep working and peak at the right time. That's the most important. Stay healthy. And really, as a team, another EOWL title. That's important to us. And
when we talk about wrestlers, and one of the things we always ask them when they come on this show is the mental toughness of the sport and what kind of things they do to kind of keep themselves mentally locked in during a long match. What about you? What are some techniques you use to stay mentally locked in?
Like well, before the match, I listen to my music. I get in my zone. I don't pay attention to no one else because they don't know what I go through every day or what work I put in every day. So, and through the match, I know I'm gonna win. That's my only mindset. Like throughout the match, I'm gonna keep getting better, hold good position, and win. That's my only mindset. And my fans behind me, they just keep getting me going.
Okay, so you're wrestling 215, right? Okay. Are you the question that I like to ask everybody, especially if they're watching their weight? I don't know how close you usually are, but what is your favorite post weigh-in meal?
I usually go with PBJ.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, PB&J. That's a classic. That's like a schoolyard lunch, in a bag. And there's nothing like, I don't know, PBJ homemade in the bag, cut in squares. It's always good. One of the things I have to ask you is about just the music. You brought it up. You listen to music. I want to know what your playlist is like. I want to know what your match day playlist looks like, and what music gets you in that right mindset that you were talking about earlier.
Old school music. I listen to Tupac a lot, Biggie, Bone Thugs. I listen to a lot of old school rap.
So you got your eyes on Columbus at the end of the season. Do you have a big rival that you see, every year that you're going to have to wrestle? Every good wrestler has somebody, an opponent that really pushes them and helps make them better. Somebody you got to keep your eyes on. Is there somebody that you either look forward to wrestling or somebody that you're going to have to wrestle before the season's out that's going to maybe stand between you and your goal?
Not really. I mean, I kind of do, but he's not my weight class. We wrestled him last year, Canfield heavyweight. He beat me. I want to get that one back. I do, but we're gonna see how the duel goes against him when we do him. So maybe get that.
You know, the sport of wrestling is all about going through adversity and handling it, and I'm sure you've had your fair share of adversity in your career. What do you think is the biggest form of adversity you've had to face so far, and how did you get yourself through it?
Last year, I couldn't wrestle the first half of the season. Stuff happened. I just kept working every day. My mindset was simple: go to the state tournament, hopefully place. But I didn't place at the state tournament last year, so we're gonna win it this year, and that's my mindset. And that's my adversity last year. Like I couldn't wrestle the first half of the season, and I was not. That wasn't easy for me.
So you're at 215. Have you bumped up to heavyweight and back down several times already? Okay. What do you think the difference is in wrestling at 215 compared to heavyweight? I don't think that anybody can appreciate it unless they've done it personally. What are the differences you see in the two weights? What do you have to do mentally to get prepared to, say, wrestle that Canfield heavyweight as opposed to somebody who is at 215 or anybody at heavyweight? Because there could be a huge weight difference.
Oh, yeah. The difference is hand fighting at heavyweight. Control position. Heavyweight's not 2-1, 3-2.
Yeah.
You got to hold good position and really just get them tired, really. At 250, about really being a better athlete and wrestling and having fun.
Yeah. Good answer.
You have this awesome mindset and work ethic, and I know that drive has to come from somewhere. Talk about what drives you to keep working and what kind of things motivate you. On those days when we know it happens, those days that maybe not your best day, that you don't want to do the work, but you still push through it. What's your drive and what's your motivation?
Well, the doubters, that's one. And two, my family and my coaches, they push me every day to be who I am. So that push me. Dad, my mom, my coach, my grandpa, everybody, my whole family, they push me every day.
Voice of the Falcons, Ty Bartel, says you're going to be a UFC champion one day. I mean, what do you think about that? What do you think about getting in the octagon a little bit?
I love it. I love fighting. That's my dream. Every day I wake up, I think about fighting. I think title one day. I know I would do it. I know I can.
So, Mark, do you have any college wrestlers or maybe wrestlers from the past who you looked up to, somebody that maybe inspired you, or, you know, especially being in a 215 heavyweight weight class, there's been a lot of great wrestlers, especially in the college ranks. Or anybody that you used to look up to maybe when you're younger or even now?
No, I drew with Jake Powell. I drew with like Jake a lot.
We're talking about role models on the mat. What about some of your role models outside of wrestling that just give you good life advice and you can look to outside of the sport?
My coach Buck, he came to coach at Fitch last year. He like an older guy. He texts me before every match. He like tells me, believe me, like I can't let no one take it. I work so hard for it, and that's my role model. Like I look for everything.
So do you feel like that experience at the state tournament last year is going to help better prepare you? I think your first match was a real tight one. I think it just came down to the end. Do you think having a battle like that at the state tournament and then, you know, not placing, but now you've got the feel of it, is that going to help you now in the postseason?
Oh, yeah. It helped me a lot. Wrestling in the offseason, too, helped me a lot, too. So I think it'll be a lot more ready.
You get to wrestle at a lot of great places. Obviously, you've wrestled at state. Are there any places that you haven't been able to wrestle that are kind of like a dream spot or a dream location to go and wrestle?
Not really. I mean, I went to Fargo this offseason. That was one of the best experiences of my life. I went down to Disney Duels. Wrestled really good down there. Wrestled at Freestyle Greco State. That was pretty fun, but not really. The only thing I want to really experience is getting to that state finals. And
That's a good transition there. They say summer wrestlers make winter champions. You talked about wrestling some freestyle. Do you think that learning those different disciplines has helped you? And what do you think it is about in the off season? What is it that you learn in the off season that maybe pushes you over the top in the regular season?
So like in off season, I go hard. That's better. People like they say they're better than you in the rankings or stuff. Like you beat them, and it just makes me wrestle harder in the off season. Like I kids like freestyle Greco at the state tournament, they were like ranked higher than me and stuff, and I beat them, and like it made me like wrestle harder and all, and it helps me a lot, like controlling positions and a whole bunch of stuff.
When you think about things that you like so much about this community, this Fitch community that is backing you up so much on the comments section, what makes Fitch feel like home to you? What is some of the things that really make that wrestling room, that community, that school system feel like home to you?
They always treat me, love me. I love them. They always, I don't, they love me. They help me everything.
So from one person that loves the sport of wrestling to another, I can tell you're passionate about it just by the way that you talk. Somebody's watching this right now and hasn't ever wrestled and thinking about it. Why don't you give them a couple reasons why? What's it done for you personally?
It makes me a way better person. Makes me like it just helps a lot. Good wrestler, if you could wrestle, you could do anything in life. That's period.
Absolutely.
Because if you wrestle, you could do anything in life, period. Because just hope for anything. Classroom, life, everything.
Willie Greenwald says, once a Falcon, always a Falcon. We know that from all the great Falcons we've been able to cover already at YSN. Some of the ones that have graduated from our coverage and still stay true to that Fitch community. Scotty is a part of this interview, and we always give him a chance to ask a question to our guests. So, Scotty, what's on your mind? What do you want to ask Marky?
Yeah, Mark. So I was wondering, you said you love fighting and stuff like that, and you talked about your passion for wrestling too. Is there anybody that, as far as the fighting goes, and maybe in the future getting into the octagon, is there anybody you really admire that you watched?
Oh yeah, Nathan Diaz. He's tough. He's the baddest.
Marky, one of the things that we have to ask about also is just the future after Fitch. You know, when you graduate, what are some things that are on your mind for things that you have in the future?
I'm gonna wrestle somewhere. I don't know yet. I don't know where yet, but I'm a wrestle somewhere at the next level, and after that, we're gonna hopefully step in octagon. So that's the plan.
Okay, last question. What is your favorite moment in the sport of wrestling so far in your life? I know you got goals and you got other things that you want to accomplish, and you don't try to focus on the past, but if there's something you can think about in the past that you're really proud of that you've accomplished, what is it?
Well, I probably like just sticking with it, and also like just like proving all the doubters wrong out there, qualifying for the state tournament last year. I wasn't even supposed to, and also like in the summer winning that freestyle, that was big to me too. That like
Marky, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate the time. Man, we're so glad that you're a part of the YSN family. We love watching you wrestle for the first, couple months of the season. We wish you the best of luck the rest of the way, and we can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for having me.
You got
Thanks,
it, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Marky Stancourt, man, what a guy, what a fan base. He is
Right.
blowing up the comment section more than I've ever seen on Running Point. Just absolute pouring out of support for Marky. And that Fitch Falcon wrestling team, we've talked about them a couple of times. We recapped their matches so far this year. They're on a tear, not just Mark, the whole team.
Yeah, they're doing well, and like you said, what a likable kid. And he obviously has a fan base. Geez, I've never seen so many, like you said, so many people commenting. I tell you what, I really love some of his answers. He said, if you can wrestle, you can do anything in life, and that's really the mentality that most wrestlers have because they know how hard it is and how mentally tough you have to be to do it. So I really love that quote that he said. And when I asked him what is he most proud of in his life, the first thing he said wasn't about a match that he won or a title that he won. He said sticking with it because it's so hard to stick with. It's not an easy sport. Everyday grind. I've talked about this for 3 years now. There's an everyday grind to it. You go into practice 5 days a week. You're wrestling in a 12-hour tournament on Saturdays. You're keeping your weight down and you're taking care of your studies and everything else. I'm so glad that he said sticking with it was the thing that he was most proud of because at the end of the day, that's what it really brings to you as a person is you learn about life, you learn about yourself, you learn how to be a grown man, and you learn how to face adversity. I think that he's got the right mindset for sure. He's being positive, he's being excited, and he's also being grateful.
Yeah, when asked about his adversity, he did bring up the fact that last year he only was able to wrestle for half the season. He missed the first half of the year, and that's a big adversity to face. Because you want it so badly, and to be able to not be able to for half the year, that's a big mental block to kind of work through. But what did he do? Just kept working, man. Just kept pushing through it. And that's how you get past any adversity. I mean, I know it's kind of a simple bumper sticker answer, but at the same time, it's true. You got to keep pushing through it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And for somebody that loves the sport as much as he does, is obvious in the way he talks. Sitting out that first half of the season was probably grueling. I mean, I can't imagine every week he's going to these tournaments with his teammates and just crawling out of his skin, ready to get on the mat. So it probably also helped him appreciate the sport even more. Cherishing every match because the time you get to do that is very short in your high school career. So he's really seems like he's soaking it all in. We'll be cheering for him from down south here in Wellsville, that's for sure.
Lloyd Greenwald bringing up a good point. We asked him about his role models, but in the same light, Mark is a role model in his own right to all the young wrestlers that are getting into the fifth program. To have a guy like that, we've talked about it with Nick Bowser too at Hubbard, a guy like that to help build the building blocks of a very successful program. It's gotta have a ripple effect for the next several years.
Absolutely. It's kids like that change your program. It's kids like that get people excited. He's obviously very well liked. I'm sure he's well liked in the hallways. I don't know him personally. It's the first time I've ever spoke to him. I bet he's slapping people 5. He's asking people how they're doing. That's the kind of guy that gets people excited about wrestling. That's the kind of guy that people say, man, I want to go be his teammate. And I'm sure the coaches love him too. I hope that any wrestler out there is paying attention because he's got a great attitude, and you have that kind of attitude, you're going to have fun with the sport, even while you're doing the daily grind.
All right, let's transition into recapping the week that was the last week since we saw each other was last Wednesday. Obviously, the big thing that went down is the Top Gun down there at Alliance. Gary, what kind of things went down? I know there were a lot of teams there. I know we saw a lot of YSN teams have pretty good weekend down there in Alliance. What did you see out of the Top Gun?
Same thing that it always has. A lot of great competition, a lot of good wrestlers, a lot of great matches. It did the same things that it always does. It's a great tournament. It's one that's kind of always been around here, at least as far as I've been around the sport. It's always been around. It's always one that's been talked about, and it does what it's always done. It gives you a great view of the sport and puts some great athletes on the spotlight.
Talk about some of the results from the Top Gun and some of the teams that had good weekends.
So I don't have the results in front of me right now. I know some locals. If you can give me some specifics, I could probably talk about them, but I don't have it pulled up at the moment. I just know that it's a great tournament, and I did see some of them. I don't have them off the top of my head, some of the results, who did what. I think that if you give me a second here, I can pull it up. But I think that there were probably about 4 or 5 YSN schools there, if I'm not mistaken. Or do you know off the top of your head, Anthony?
Yeah, I was trying to pull them up too while you were talking.
Okay. Yeah, it was definitely a tough weekend though, because I know there were some guys going in there with some great records that took some losses, and there were some tough losses in there too. I did see some of the results, and some of them are really close matches, which is what you get in a tournament like that. You're always going to get great wrestlers, and they're going to get some good competition, and it's a good middle / starting the second half of the season or the last part of the season tournament, because this is the time that you need to get better. This is the time that you need to peak, and this is the time that you really need to show who you are and figure out who you are, because it doesn't get any easier from here.
Yeah, and I'm looking at I know the West Branch girls actually fared pretty well down there in their weekend tournament. There was a girls division and a boys division at Top Gun, which probably one of the first times they've been able to do that, because now there is girls wrestling sanction in the OHSAA.
Yes, and that was one of the things that I did see. That there was a girls section of it now, and I mean that just again goes to show you what this sport is turning into as far as the girls go. They are, these big tournaments, these really tough tournaments, are now having a girls section of it, and a girls portion. I think that the sport is going to continue to grow. Having the girls be able to participate in these kind of tournaments is only going to make it even more interesting, and it's going to pique interest in people wanting to come out for the sport, especially on the female side. So I think it's great, and I think it's going to continue to blow up. I hope that all these big tournaments like this continue to consider adding, a girls portion, a girls bracket, because there's no drawback to it. There's absolutely no drawback. I mean, obviously it's work. Don't get me wrong. Running a high school wrestling tournament is a ton of work, for sure. And it's not an easy thing to do, to find people to come and work it. I totally understand that. But once you get that taken care of, the interest that you bring in, you're going to get the community involved. It's only good for the sport. I just hope it continues to roll. And I personally am just glad to see the snowball getting bigger and bigger. It just caused a snowball effect of positivity and really momentum that's happening. I don't think that it could be going any faster or any better in the state of Ohio right now once they've got the ball rolling. I do think it took them a little bit to do that, because we've had a lot of great girls wrestlers who've come and gone who didn't get the chance to wrestle in their own state tournament. Hey, but you can't change the past. You can only focus on the future. And I think that we are heading in the right direction.
In fact, three Warrior girls placed in the inaugural. It was the first Top Gun girls tournament. Jocelyn Brink placed second. Trista Swanson finished third, and Brooklyn Stauffer placed fourth. So that's a big moment for a West Branch program. That, like we said before, it was the first girls program at West Branch. They were able to get a couple of wins early in the season that we highlighted. That was the first, it was big because it was the first time that girls were competing in a girls tournament at West Branch. Now they go to the Top Gun, which is the inaugural girls tournament for the Top Gun Alliance, and they have 3 placers. Swanson finished third in the 115. I'm trying to look at this bracket real quick. The 110 was where we saw, I believe, nope, not 110. Sorry, we'll go up one more. 105 division was where we saw Stauffer finish fourth. And then if we scroll down back past 115, I think we'll find the second place finisher for West Branch.
Well, while you're doing that, Anthony, I'm checking out the team scores here. Yeah, Austintown Fitch finished in fourth there. That's a great showing. I mean, that's really, really, they're showing what they're made of. I know Coach Bird's got to be happy with that team performance there. Salem was there, finished 19th. Jefferson 22nd. Howland 25th. Edgewood 26th. Canfield 29th. South Range 33rd. Girard 34th. And that's out of 48 teams. So, I mean, you got almost 50 teams there.
Right.
And you've got teams like Aurora and Harrison. These are some really, really great programs. Just what a meat grinder of a weekend. I'm sure any coach that was there will probably tell you the same.
I had to scroll for a little bit, but in the 190 division, we found Brink, who will finish second in the 190 for West Branch. So they had 3 placers. See a lot of Salem as well. I think the Salem girls plays pretty well. In fact, in that 190, Kid from Salem finished fourth. The EBC really had a great showing, because it's Carrollton, West Branch, Alliance, and Salem in the top 4 in that 190 division for the girls bracket. So EBC Wrestling doing pretty good for itself. We all know Carrollton always has a great wrestling program.
Oh, yeah.
Alliance obviously does, hosting the Top Gun. I saw a couple. Marlington was in there as well. So EBC alive and well.
Yeah, definitely. You're naming some good schools there for that. Yeah, Mark Stankorb, he won the title there. He got a pin in the finals. Let's see, Luce from Canfield, he was third place at the heavyweight division. So you're seeing some local guys that have done well. I mean, really, just placing in this tournament is a big deal. Phillips from Austintown looks like he was fourth. And South Range, Tyson C. Schultz looks like he was sixth at 175. So, and also Stecker from Salem, he was seventh. So you got two local guys right there, 6th and 7th, two YSN guys. So, I mean, it just looks like the same thing. Like I said, it's just like it always is, a really great tournament with a lot of great wrestling.
And then we go to got some results from Howland as well as Heckman, who we've had on the program. Adam Heckman, He finished third in the Top Gun. And they also had Madison Burns on the girls. She also finished. I mean, Heckman finished first. Madison Burns for the girls finishes third. So Howland gets 2 placers at the Top Gun. Like you said, just a very good, very strong, very big tournament. And it's a one right in the smack dab of the middle that teams are really benefiting from going to down there in the second weekend of January.
Yes, and it's not stopping here. I mean, you've got the Hefner coming up.
That's Saturday.
The OVAC tournament for us starts tomorrow, which is why I'm a little bit behind on the results here. I've been hardly sleeping.
He's kind of busy.
Getting everything ready. The amount of paperwork that I have to do, the meetings I have to go to down in Wheeling, West Virginia, back and forth with my coaches and I. And, yeah, there's a lot of great wrestling happening right now, last week and this week moving forward.
Let's transition into this week. We have some wrestling that will be on the network this week. And we start with tonight. We are going to have one from Ashtabula County in Edgewood as the Howland Tigers go to Edgewood to face the Warriors in a duel. Larry Jennings will be down there. Waterloo is also in action with a match with Field and Western Reserve, both going to Waterloo. That is still on, by the way. Waterloo did not have school today, but they have announced that wrestling for now is still on for tonight, and so is Edgewood and Howland. So when you talk about the Tigers, we just talked about their finish at Top Gun, going to Edgewood, who's having a really good week. In fact, Kyle Vinsel for Edgewood won, and I think he won his division down there for the Top Gun. So shocker of Vinsel in Edgewood. If you've been following YSN in Edgewood, Vinsels are just everywhere down there. Zach Vinsel graduated last year. He was a superstar on the basketball team. Randy Vinsel coaches the girls basketball team. There's 3 Vinsels on that basketball team. It's a family that is literally everywhere down there in Edgewood. I actually sent Coach Vinsel a little text after Kyle won in Top Gun. I said, "Where are you getting all these people?"
That's crazy to have a great basketball player and a great wrestler, the
right.
same family. I don't know if they're cousins or brothers, but that's crazy. Obviously, some athletic kids there. It looked like Vinsel kid was the 3rd seed, came through and won in the finals 11-8. That's got to feel good and talk about a momentum builder going into the second half of the season.
So you're coming off of a weekend like that, and then you're welcoming in a really good Howland team. This should be a really good duel tonight between the Tigers and the Warriors. Then we go over the weekend where we have a big one going down in Austintown. Chris Colucci will be down at the Hefner tournament at Fitch. What can you say about that and what to look forward to for that tournament?
Hey, it's another great tournament. It's one with a lot of great tradition, and it is one that I know that the Fitch. I'm sure the Fitch kids got this circled. They want this championship there. That's going to be a great one. I really wish that I could be in 2 places at once, but we'll be down in Wheeling. But that is one to definitely look forward to. I'm guessing Austintown's got to be one of the favorites to bring home that team title there.
Gary, we wouldn't let you go without also previewing the OVACs that you're going to be taking part of in Wheeling, and there are other YSN teams I'm sure that are going to be down there as well. What to expect from the OVACs? Who are some players that are ones to keep their eye on? and just talk about the weekend that's in store.
Yeah, so Wellsville, Southern Local, Edison, those are all YSN teams that'll be down there. If at least in the past, it was the largest conference tournament in the United States. It's held at the Wheeling Civic Center, West Bank Arena down there. That's where their minor league hockey team plays. It's a 3-day tournament. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The finals are televised. It's a great tournament. It's got a lot of tradition. There are between 40 and 50 teams there. Again, it's a conference, and it spans a couple states. It's West Virginia and it's Ohio, and there's schools as small as 25 kids per grade, all the way up to schools that have probably 700-800 kids per grade, if not more than that. So it's a huge conference. The just the sheer square mileage of it is massive. You're talking a probably 2.5 hour drive from the most southern school to the most northern school, something along those lines. So it's a really great, huge tournament. And these are all conference teams. This isn't just a tournament where they invited whoever. These are all in the same conference, in the Ohio Valley Athletic Conference. It's going to be a great tournament to watch. There's a lot of great wrestling going to happen there. There have been nationally ranked teams there in the past. Parkersburg South, probably the best West Virginia public school that there is. They've been ranked in the nation in the top 25 on several occasions. There is the number one, I believe the number one 175 pounder in the country will be wrestling there this weekend. So there's a lot of good wrestling to watch. As far as us locally, I would say probably Gabe Lissenbach from Southern Local is one to really keep your eye on. He's the number 2 seed, 190 pounds. He's one that could bring YSN home in OVAC championship. And we can't forget about Beaver Local. That's another YSN team that will be there. They've got several top-ranked kids. We have returning champ Bobby Buhite. He's been on the show before. He was a champion last year. He's looking to come back as a sophomore season to go 2 for 2. So there's going to be a lot of great wrestling this weekend. So if you're not able to make it up to Austintown and you live down this way, head down to Wheeling this weekend to watch some wrestling. There'll be some good one happening.
All right, that's going to do it for episode 7 of Wrestling Wednesdays. And, man, 7 in the can. I can't believe it, man. It's 7 weeks of wrestling down the OVACs. Then we have the EOWL still on the horizon. Then it's time to talk about, districts.
Oh, man, it's crazy to say. I mean, I just got my email yesterday for our sectional coaches meeting that's coming up. I can't believe that it's already this time. Every year, the season flies by. It gets faster every year. I'm sure every coach can say that. It never seems to drag along. It just always seems to fly by the time with the kids. I mean, in the end, that's what this is all about, and that is the most fun part. So I'm just glad I still get to do this and to see it every season when I see the end coming up on the horizon. I just try to soak it in as much as I can.
Gary, we want to thank you for your time, as always, to give us some great insight and expertise into wrestling on Wrestling Wednesdays. I want to thank Mark Stankorb for taking the time to be a live guest today during his off day, because it's a snow day for most everybody in the area with the cold weather. So thank you to him for taking the time, and we'll take a break. We'll be back with transitioning into the recap of basketball from last night, and we'll preview the games that are still happening as of now for tonight and more with me and Scotty and maybe Gary as we get back from this commercial break. Gary, you sticking around?
I unfortunately can't, guys. We got to get ready
for
it.
It's OVAC week, right?
Yeah, I appreciate the offer. I'll be back next week. I'll have some more time.
You're always welcome, Gary.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next week.